Hello again, SGB's Companion Wolf here with another Smile Game Builder tutorial. This is another tips and tricks video focusing more on functions from the 1.12 update. Think of it as an introduction to some of the things that can be achieved thanks to this update before I focus more comprehensively on the battles part in future tutorials. Before I begin, I'd like to redirect your attention to something. You can skip this preamble, but I trust you won't, and I hope you'll forgive a little gratuitous self-promotion. As many of you know, I have a range of SGB assets megapacks available on the Gnome Treasure Store and itch.io. This month I'm going to release several new megapacks, which I've been quietly working on in the background. At the moment, these are only terrain assets, but I will expand my high-text range to include model packs as well. The first is the Walls Terrain Megapack Volume 1, which contains 234 wall terrains and variations. And the second is the long-awaited House Pack Volume 1, which has 284 interior wall terrains and 3 matching lintel models. Furthermore, finally being released this year is the Furniture Pack Volume 1, which also contains some animated models such as secret doors behind bookcases. At the moment though, I'm fixing some incongruities with the models and animations, but it shouldn't now take too much time before release. The final megapack, scheduled for release in this year's first quarter, if all goes well, is the House Pack Volume 2, whose contents include terrains for bathroom tiles and wood-panelled walls, but will have more models, such as a sofa, an armchair and a wall TV. The terrain packs specifically will now be $10.99 each, starting sometime in the first quarter again. And the model packs will be $12.99. Prices are slightly more expensive on itch.io to offset some fees that are incurred. I'll make the announcement as always on my Twitter and Facebook accounts and on the SGB Athenaeum, so be sure to follow me there if you want to keep up to date with these new releases. You can also join the SGB Discord server for discussions and support on all things Smile Game Builder, and especially if you are new to SGB, you are more than welcome. Finally, I'd like to bring your attention to the newly created SGB Wiki page. This fan wiki covers various Smile Game Builder topics, as well as tips and tricks and extra information not available in the official manual, including Unity and SGB games, or at least that's the intention. At the moment, however, as you can see, it's literally a bare bones site, and this is where I need your help. Unfortunately, I don't have the time to properly update the site, so it's left open as a wiki for SGB fans and experts alike to contribute towards it, and this way we can expand it beyond just a help manual. Any contributions, large or small, would be greatly appreciated. If you listened to my preamble, thank you. Either way, let's get started. The first thing I do in every game or tutorial is to set up an auto-synchronized common event to constantly check several variables in the background. I'd recommend setting aside at least 20 variables specifically for this purpose, and this is what mine looks like. As you can see, I split this into sections appropriate to the variable types, and with the addition of the note event from update 1.12, it's much easier to categorize them. I have all of the keys, all of the camera variables that we will need, the player direction and X, Y and height, playtime, and an extra one for the amount of money held. Now, if you haven't watched the previous video, 63 Features Overview on Update 112, I'd recommend you do so to bring yourself up to speed on the new features and functions that the update introduced. The next common event we'll set up is enable disable settings, which, as you can see, enables or disables things like camera controls, movement and menus. Now on sheet 1, its trigger is once only, and the switch condition enable off disable on is set to off to enable or re-enable all of the settings you see here. Camera control, player control, run, menu screen and save. And on sheet 2, again it's triggered once only, and the conditional switch is turned on with all of the settings disabled. This is very useful to prevent players wandering around when, for example, you're displaying an image on screen, as we'll see in the next common event, which is displaying a map when a map item is used. This is a simple 2-sheet event, with the first one to show the map image and the second one to hide it after pressing a key. This works in a similar way to the cancel image with a key routine I did in tutorial 17, which was the very first tips and tricks video in this series. We're using a local switch because the sheets are event specific only. So on sheet 1, the local switch will be off and the trigger is set to no trigger. We'll be calling it from the map item shortly. We first need to turn the enable disable switch we just created to on. This will disable all player and camera controls. And we next display the image for our map. I haven't got a map image, so I've just used the default mural one instead. Then turn local switch on to trigger sheet 2. And speaking of sheet 2, the conditional switch is local switch on, and the start event trigger is auto start, synchronized and repeat. Now this is to check whether the cancel key is pressed to remove the map image, otherwise it'll stay on the screen. Firstly, we would check whether the key cancel is equals to 1. In other words, if cancel is pressed, we can then delete the map, turn the local and enable off, disable on switches to off. You can use this method for things like learning new skills or spells from scrolls, or adding extra stats to characters, which I'll pursue in another tutorial. This method, as it is, treats the map item as a consumable, so it'll be used. Remove the map item from your inventory as soon as it's used. So if you want to keep the map in the inventory after use, we can simply add an item and then we can select the map item, add 1 to the number before the delete image. In fact, you could probably put it anywhere in this check variable branch. So anywhere in between that and that. So now we come to creating the map item itself. It should be under items, of course. It's usable on the map, and we call the common event display map. I would also recommend setting a maximum quantity to 1 if you want to avoid accidentally adding duplicate maps. So now, if we play test this, I've set up a little event here, by the way. Basically, it gives you a map and then tells you you've received a map. Oh, that was for something else. So let's play test. And so now if we talk to the guy, we received a map. So if we check the items, sure enough we've got the map and we can use it. And it doesn't matter who uses it. It'll stay the same, and if you press any other key apart from cancel, then the map will delete. Just to check, still have the map. If you didn't add the item there, the map would be used and you'd have to ask the dude for another map. So for this one, I'm going to make the start point. In tutorial 42, tips and tricks, it's tips and tricks part 6, that's right. I showed you how to display the map image or the map name as an image. Now with the new update, you can achieve the same thing using one of two methods. Don't worry so much about the local switch. This is just to swap between the two because there are two methods. So the trigger, the events trigger, is once only. You can then type the map name in the message text box followed by the \W control character with a number of seconds to wait put between the square brackets, and then this is followed by \hat or caret or whatever that's called. It's usually Shift-6 anyway, which automatically closes the window. The full list of these control characters is on page 115 of the help manual, although I have memorized most of them, so we'll be using them extensively throughout my tutorials now for different effects. And if we play test, test house appears, waits for 6 seconds before it disappears. It's rather cool. With the next method, thanks to the addition of display text as image, we can now manipulate and animate text without having to actually create it as a graphic as we did in tutorial 42. Just for the purposes of this tutorial, I'll switch the events. As I said, you don't have to worry about these, it's just for this tutorial. So, this is set to one time only once more, and we can then use the display text screen, display text on screen as image. This means that the text can be animated, unlike message windows, which are fixed. it is the same with the text as before, and we set the graphics number and the starting coordinates, even the text alignment if you want to. However, at the time of this video, the control characters do not seem to work here in the same way that they do with the text and dialogue. For some reason, they just won't execute as they should. So we have to work around it for now by adding a move image to move the text into the center of the screen or wherever you like, and how long you want it to take to get there. I've put 1.2 seconds, which is fairly fast. And here's the workaround. Just put a wait. 1.5 seconds is enough time to see the text before it disappears, and then just delete the image. Otherwise it'll remain on screen just like the other images until they're deleted. So let's play test again. Yeah, it moves quite nicely down, fades and disappears. Actually, with the display text on screen as image, we can go one step further. Why not? Say if you wanted to add a party member's name to the house, you can add, for example, say H1 apostrophe S. That H \H is the control character or the control code for the party member's name. In this case it would be Marie, because she's second in the party since it goes from 0 up, and the name will be whoever is the second party member if the default order is changed. So since we'll add this, it should now display Marie's test house. So we play test again, and there it is, Marie's test house. If we changed the formation in characters, and we have, say, Ignaz as the second and Marie as the third, when that would display, it would say Ignaz's test house. Now the cool thing about this is you can also, it doesn't matter which method you use, whether it's the window or the test, the image as a, the text on screen as an image. You can even add variables or string values by adding to the text as well. For reference, all of these are on page 105 of the manual. Now this provides more real estate, because previously you needed separate images for every map name. Now you don't need to. You have a simple text, which is basically a string converted to or treated as an image. You can, of course, also add an accompanying background image for the text and move that accordingly as well. I chose not to for this tutorial. So now there are 3 ways to display map names, whichever one you prefer. And you can use the same method to animate other text stuff in battles as well, which I'll cover in one of the later tutorials. And that is it for this tutorial. I know it's a bit short, but it's kind of like, as I said in the beginning, it's more of an introduction to some of the new features, and as time goes on I will focus a lot more on the battles system. It is quite versatile in what you can do. If you want to check out what can be done, I would recommend DKC Games on Twitter. He has produced some amazing stuff, all with this new update. Now, as I mentioned in the previous tutorial, there's a very real possibility I'm migrating to Dailymotion, or perhaps I'll give BitChute another chance. At the moment, I'm not doing shorter versions of the tutorials on YouTube and extended versions on Dailymotion yet, but the videos will still be uploaded to Dailymotion eventually for a backup in case things go sideways. This video is exactly the same one, same size, that will appear on Dailymotion. And in the next few videos I will start doing some battle stuff and showcase some of the things you can now do in battle with this new 1.12 update. All of the usual links to my Twitter, Facebook and SGB Athenaeum blog and any other links that I've mentioned will be in the description below. That's it for now. Thanks for watching. Until the next time.